Hi, Scott Huggins here, author of A Cold and Mortal Spring, available from Canon Publishing. And I was just thinking about the old movie serials. And I thought to myself, why don't we have something like that with stories? You know, the movie serials would always come up. You'd get about 10 minutes of drama, and then of course you'd get the cliffhanger, so you'd have to come in next time. And so I've decided to try to launch a new concept. This is what I call cereal box stories. Cereal box stories, a small bowl of fiction just for you. It's only going to last 5 minutes, and whatever I get through in 5 minutes, that's where I'm going to stop. So I'm not going to start with A Cold and Mortal Spring for a couple of reasons. The main one being that Canon Publishing has already done an excellent job making an audiobook for this, so I don't think we need another audiobook for this. Instead, I'm going to try something lighter, something I wrote years ago, one of my first comedy sales, which is in this anthology edited by Martin Greenberg and Jim Hines, Heroes in Training. So 5 minutes, and I'm going to time us here. 5 minutes. You won't be able to see the clock, just to for the added suspense, but that's what we're going to do. So here we go. 5 minutes of story, starting with my Jack and the Beanstalk send up, Giantkiller. And yes, you're going to have to endure everything, including me finding my place here. So let's see, Giantkiller, page 147. It is presumed by the simple that we legends know no fear, that we are born into our roles and take to them as easily as stud bulls, leaping to duty knowing only boundless energy and excitement. Those who know only the Giantkiller's record may be pardoned, of course. But before there was the Giantkiller, there was a man called Jack. From Chapter 1, The Map's Greatest Legend. A Man Called Jack, The Early Years, with Cleve Custer, Singing Harp Press, Happy Valley, MDC XVIII. And you best not get taken, boy! You hear me? You just best not! The shrieks of Jack's mother followed him up the road with the rising sun. Briefly, Jack's brow creased in puzzlement. He gazed at the rope in his hand. To his utter lack of surprise, it looped around the neck of their cow, Milky White. Milky White stared back at him with an arch look of contempt. Footnote. It did not occur to Jack then that arch looks of contempt were things that cows rarely possessed and thus seldom gave away. Yes, he was taking the cow to market. The cow was behind him. He was not behind the cow, therefore Jack was doing the taking. Dismissing his mother's worry, Jack continued along the road to town. Milky White had stopped living up to the first half of her name earlier in the week, so Jack was taking her to market. It was all very simple. A lovely day's walk in the sun, trade the cow for some money. A lovely day's walk back. It was all very simple until, just a mile from their door, they ran into Jack and his cow. Meeting a double of myself on the road was the first inkling I had that things had gone wrong. Wrong? All my instincts were screaming betrayal. In the King's Necessary Anti-Villainy Executive, we are taught over and over again that there are no such things as coincidences. The fact that there are such things as colossal blunders were left to learn in the field. There, at the beginning of my career, I was to see what such mistakes could cost. I stepped forward using every ounce of the cold steel nerves the gods had granted me to stand there with a dumbfounded expression on my face and greet my double as if I hadn't noticed a thing out of the ordinary. From Chapter 2, The Knave Naive, A Man Called Jack. Howdy, strangers, Jack called out, glad of company on the road. It was a lawful kingdom, of course, but you never knew whom you might meet. He stuck his hand in his pouch. There was some cheese with hardly any mold on it, and it cost nothing to be generous, did it? Or was it, it costs nothing to be friendly? Jack often got the two confused. The strangers looked awfully familiar, but Jack couldn't place them. The cow especially looked as if he should know it. Suddenly he realized what it was. Hey, he said to the man, we're wearing the same clothes. The stranger gaped at him for a moment and then said in a kind of sad tone, most people do, Jack. Rough spun is pretty much rough spun, no matter how you tailor it. He looked behind Jack at Milky White. All right, Bulganova, we've found you. Are you going to come quietly? Jack looked at the man hard. He'd heard of people talking to cows or even walls when they were drunk, but those people tended to fall down a lot more. Who are you talking to? Say, did you notice we're the same height, too? Just your cow, Jack. The stranger smiled reassuringly. Bulganova there is an excellent cow, and I'd really like her to have this fine cowbell. He pulled a cowbell from his pouch. It was attached to a silver mesh collar. It was a very fine cowbell, and the stranger moved past Jack with it. Milky White backed away from him, tugging Jack. Jack set his heels in the dirt, but Milky White tugged harder, pulling him off the road. This struck Jack as very strange. Normally, people did not stop strangers on the highway and give presents to their cows. Milky White is pulling me now. She's taking me off the road. I'm getting taken by a cow. In the desperate terror that can only be produced by abject poverty and drastically upset mothers, Jack called on all his strength and heaved on the rope. Abruptly, Milky White changed tactics. She cannoned forward past Jack, lunging at the stranger with her horns. He howled in pain. Jack reacted with the speed of a farmer. Bad cow! He cried and hit Milky White in the shoulder with his full strength. She staggered away from the bleeding stranger. He picked up the silver mesh bell in one hand, never letting go of the rope. All he wanted to do was give you a present. In one smooth motion, he fastened the bell around Milky White's neck. She gave a bellow of protest and jerked to her feet, lunging at him with a horn, and then suddenly stood looking blankly behind him, completely motionless. All right, and that is the end of 5 minutes. That is the conclusion of this bowl of our cereal box stories. So, hope you'll stick around for the next one. See you next time.